we're out here today with Finnegans Farm. So we're out with Kevin. Kevin, what spuds are you harvesting here today?
We're digging roosters here today. This is the last crop we've to dig. We've all the cur pinks and the queens dug, so it's all roosters from now on in, so it is.
Very good. And I suppose harvest conditions are very good this year?
Harvest conditions are very, very good, yeah. We've had a massive run of luck with it. Like we might have seen one or 2 days rain, but all it does is really kept the dust down. It hasn't affected us at all, and we're getting through a nice bit of ground now, thank God. So hopefully another probably a week or two and we'll be well on, like. Yeah. I'll be done. Very good.
So what other varieties besides the roosters would you do?
They do an awful lot of cur pinks. They supply into Duns. I think they're the sole supplier of cur pinks into Duns. So any cur pinks you buy in Duns stores is all from Finnegans Farm. And then they do obviously a few early queens, and then they do the roosters, which is their main crop.
Very good. So they do all their own packing as well,
yeah,
don't they? All
brought back, and then they do pre-made meals as well. Let's say your potato gratins, your croquettes, all into Dunn stores. So they've done that probably the last 3 or 4 years, and that's really, really taken off now. So they're after actually building a new pack house there, a pre-made meal factory, and it was only opened there last week by Thomas Byrne, one of the ministers. So it's they're jumping from ladder to ladder, let's say. So
yeah,
higher and higher. Yeah. So.
All going well. So I suppose, can you tell us about the new machine we're in here today?
Yeah, so this is a new Grimmy 470 Veritron. So it's a 4-row harvester. Finnegans used to work 2 staff-propelled harvesters, but this machine has replaced them, and there used to be a guy chopping the stalks, another guy windrow and opening the field. So normally he'd have 11 or 12 guys in the field at any one time. Now we're down to, I think, 6. So there's me on the harvester, there's 3 lads drawn, and then there's 2 lads in the on the loaders in the yard, filling the lorries and bringing them back to the yard. So
yeah, so good labour saver.
Yeah, massive labour saver. And then I'm the only one in the field digging. There's no chopper, and that's the beauty of this machine. You can go wherever you want in the field. There's no having to open up drills so that you're not driving over them and all. So it's it's a very impressive machine. Just the price of it is. I think an awful lot of thought went into it, but he doesn't regret it now, I don't think.
Yeah, but I suppose when you're taking other 6 people out of it.
Yes, it's a major thing, and 6 tractors. Yeah. But even the way things are going with labour, it's just can't get anyone to do things, like, do you know what I mean? And good lads are very hard to get, and just to get through work, like we were trying to average, and like on a normal day you'd easily dig 350 tonne with this, easily. And that's going handy, like you could, if you got into real good going, like this is real good conditions. We have a long enough run here, and like you could easily pump out maybe 450 at least a day, like no problem. It all just depends on conditions.
Yeah.
But you can afford to probably go that bit slower and take your time, because we're filling on the move as well. So we are. So there's no stopping or nothing. It's just keep going the whole time. So it's a very impressive machine. Very impressive.
And how do you find, say, with the 4 rows?
Yeah, it took a bit of getting used to at the start, coming in and stuff. But as I was saying to Paul this morning, you wouldn't go back. Like it's like anything, automatic car, manual car. Once you go automatic or divider, you just don't go back.
Yeah, like our guidance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. Like Finnegans, all their tractors on guidance. Even some of the tractors there, I see your GPS on the 240 there, and he just comes in beside me and he puts it into auto steer, and away he's stuck there beside me, and I'm not worried about him going in or out or nothing. All he does is keep at the same pace, 3 or 3.5 kilometres there, and I'll work up and down the trailer, and everyone's happy, and there's no spuds lost, and just it's all efficiencies. That's what Finnegans, that's what they're using all your GPS for. It's just efficiencies, like.
That's it.
Everything is. Even this harvester is steering itself up the field if you want to, but it's just you go home at the end of the evening and you're not tired, like.
Yeah, it's a massive thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like that, with shortage of labour, I suppose having the kind of autopilot and the guidance, it kind of reassures you that.
Because even Finnegans using for even rolling the corn or whatever, like if you're a foot or 2 off every run, like you're just maximising your machine all the time.
Yeah. I suppose with the increase in fertiliser prices and everything.
Yes, yeah, like Finnegans are variable rating and yield mapping, and they even on the combines, they're taking all the data off that and bringing it into the office, and they've Roush fertiliser spreader, and they're variable yield mapping and variable rating the land, so they're only literally putting out exactly what it needs. they're not overspreading, like.
Yeah, and avoid any kind of mist or overlaps or anything like that as well.
Exactly, yes, yeah. So, like the route further spreader they have has 18 section controls. It's nearly like a sprayer. So, and it's the same with the sprayer. It's the same. It's all on variable maps, so it is. So it's beeping there that it's full.
Yeah, I can see that behind us.
Yeah, so we might pull out. It doesn't be long, but getting full, so it doesn't.
No.
Pull out of the drill because we're only after opening up the field here. So see, I didn't need anyone else coming alongside me or anything like that, or even a windrower to open up the field. It was all just straight up the field.
And how much would she hold now?
It holds 7 ton. So it does. So like it'll hold. Yeah, it'll definitely hold 6 boxes. You might even get 7 boxes because then most of them boxes, especially when they're so clean like that, you get maybe 1,200 kilos into them. Like.
Yeah.
So you would, so it's, it's a good job. Look at it. I suppose no matter what size of bunker you have, you'd always want more, like.
Yeah, that's it.
But it does hold an awful lot. Like, I tell you, I remember in the old harvest we had to pick it out of it one day because the chain broke, and you'd know all about it when you have to pick 7 ton of spuds out of
I'd say so.
Out of a hopper, like.
And I suppose as well when she's doing the 4 runs, you'd kind of need her to hold that.
Like his old harvester was a 2-row, a 270 it was called, but it was a two-row with a 7 ton bunker, and like you go half around the field, but with this yoke you'd be halfway up the field. It's an awful difference in output even. Like you wouldn't be long about opening the square up. Like you do 2 runs up the field and the boys could nearly turn. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a very impressive machine now. Very impressive.
Is there much of an issue with bruising or anything like that?
No, we just, it's very good now. They often send out, it's called an electric spud, so they just throw the spud in the drill there, and I take it up the harvester as normal, and it'll tell him where the bruising's happening on the harvester or at what time it's happening. And then they do, when they go home every day, they call a hot box, so they'll put the spuds into a hot box and it'll show up the bruising the next morning. So at least, well, I know you'd harvest 400 ton, but you'd know fairly quickly if you were damaging them very bad. But no, there's often talk about the bunker machines damaging, but it's all about how you do it. Like we put the fall breaker right into the box. I don't let it up until it's nearly half full, so you shouldn't have damage.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have at all. And like there's a load of belts in that fall breaker, and it eases the fall.
Yeah. There's no big bangs coming down out of it.
No, and yeah, but no, you just have to be careful. Whenever it's dry going like that, you turn down your agitation, and you might drive around a bit more and get a bit more clay up the webs just to push it on, so they're not sitting on the cleaners and getting jumped around. And the quality of the spuds here is very good today. Very, very good. It has actually been a very good year for farmers, I think, or even crops even has been good. Like it's been a favourable year for everyone nearly. I know we did wet winter like last, but we're probably going to get another wet winter. As you see, it rains cement every year, doesn't it? It just comes in different ways.
Yeah, and to be fair, we've had a nice dry spell, so.
We've had very good, yeah, so.
And I suppose everyone's just kind of driving on now while the weather's good.
Yeah. Like an awful lot of lads are well on. I know the boys are well on with the sowing. Like they'll be in here probably later on or tomorrow after us. Once we get one field done, they'll come in and they'll sow it, because this is the kind of ground, like it grows great spuds. Like they have to have a bit of everything, dry ground, wet ground, everything, because you couldn't put all your eggs in one basket. But this field now will be heavy enough, so whenever we are finished, they'll be in straight away to sow, because if it got rained on, it wouldn't be just that easy sowed, like.
Yeah.
And then it's later harvest and all that kind of stuff.
And it's just a mixture of tillage as well, Finnegans here, is it?
Yeah, they do. They're probably not far off 2,000 acres of corn, like, and they've cattle as well and sprouts. So
good mixture, so.
They've an awful mixture of stuff, yeah, an awful lot of stuff. So.
But I suppose when you're doing potatoes and stuff, you have to.
Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose, yeah, like they'll put wheat in after this, and I suppose it's to get the most out of their. They're going to get a real good yield of wheat after spuds, so
yeah.
It's they just even to hold the ground, like.
Yeah.
They keep the rotation. Like they might put spuds in this again in 2 or 3 years' time, because it'll be it wouldn't have had spuds in a long time, this ground here. So, or maybe ever. I think it was always in tillage, to be honest. They only got this farm. There's about 250 acres in this farm, and half it was done with spuds this year, and the other half will go next year.
Oh, very good. Okay. So you're there now with the cameras.
Yeah.
Which ones would you be kind of keeping an eye on most, or?
We see, well, we can put it into automatic, and it'll flash through them. You can see the stalks there. So, but as soon as I go into reverse, it'll put on the reversing camera. But you can come all the way up along. So that's just underneath us, and then you come into your first column roller, your bypass, or your into the next column roller, into your multi-steps. I know they're full there with stalks, but that's the second multi-step. So they're the cleaners. You'll see them working now in a second.
Very good.
I'll get back there.
Oh yeah, you were just maybe running the last.
Yeah, I was just taking that last little bit that I couldn't get. It's just all compacted in because it's the same width as the two-row harvester. Maybe it's a tiny bit wider, but within reason. See, it has to be probably within 3 meters wide, or else you wouldn't be able to move them around. Like, they bring this around on a truck. They don't drive it on the road, like. So it has to be. It's a big machine now on the road, like.
Yeah, because I was wondering, some gaps and stuff. She's a fairly big machine.
Yeah, but it's very manoeuvrable. I can steer the track by working the joystick left or right, or I can put it into four-wheel steer. So when I turn my front steer and the back wheel steer, to be honest, it's probably more manoeuvrable than a two-row, like.
Yeah.
Because it has two tracks and it's on a like a bogie, you can twist. So this is where we
Filling away on the go.
fill on the go, yeah. See, that's the best thing with the bunker. The boys can take their time getting in properly, and I can pick the time when best to do it.
Yeah.
And I have to stop now because I'm in bunker mode. See, there's two modes on it. Because I was coming up the field, I put it into bunker mode and to fill it up full. So I have to stop just to let this bit off, and then I can continuously fill it then.
And say, is there much setting up now when you get into the field?
There would be. Well, you'd be constantly doing bits and pieces. So you would be constantly tweaking the whole time. And even different crops, like Cur Pinks have very, very strong stalks. So you'd be putting your chopper down lower and you'd be going that bit slower, and you'd have your hollow extraction, which takes out your stalks. You'd put that more. That's where you'd get your damage, where you have to be very careful with damage, is taking out, because sometimes the spuds are still stuck to the stalk, and you could be pulling at them then. So you just have to be careful at that, all right.
So another load done.
Another load done.
So you have 3 loads done there and filled in what,
in
about
jig
15
time,
minutes?
yeah. You wouldn't be long about it. And then I can see that behind me, I can reverse the bunker to bring it down to me so that I can reset and fill it full again, because it'd be only a drop on the end and it'd end up being full too quickly, like.
How are you finding size this season?
I think it's been fairly good. The crop has been like fairly good, like. It's yeah, like, crop is good. Size, you see, they're constantly watching them. Look, it's as you know, it's all technology. Even the GPS, they're plotting where the spuds are good and bad, and they're watching them like a hawk, and they're killing them for certain markets. So these are probably for 7.5 kilo washing, and the other field might be for 4 kilos. So it'd be smaller potatoes, but more of them. And they'd be planting them closer together to get smaller spuds and more of them, and put them further apart to get bigger. So look, it's
again all about
farming. Everyone thinks farming is just a tractor, but there's an awful lot of technology in farming, as you know yourself, and that's the way it's going. GPS and variable mapping and all that kind of stuff. It's everyone has to keep up with technology, and look, in fairness, Finnegans are really pushing that because they know they have to. It's all efficiencies.
That's it, and I suppose with scale as well.
Yes.
It's that kind of extra.
Yeah. Well, look.
Incentive.
Definitely, like.
So I suppose the case there is using our Trimble GFX 750 and Nav 900.
Yeah, they're using Trimble GPS for a lot of stuff. Like, they're there steering beside us there, the harvester, to keep us parallel. Like, simple things even like that, you think you wouldn't use it for, and you would.
Yeah, and I suppose, say with spraying and spreading and all that.
Oh God,
stuff,
yeah.
They'd all be Isobus.
Yes. Well, they've the spreader and the sprayer on Isobus, so they're worked through the screens in the tractors, and then you have your Trimble GPS. Like, I know the spreader is doing variable yield mapping, so he'll go out and spread his P's and K's on this before he sows it, or even before the potatoes or the sprouts. That seems to be a massive saving for them, the way fertilizer is gone. So they're only putting the fertilizer on where it actually really needs to be, like, because you might look at this field and think it's hungry for this, that or the other, but it might be perfect on the left hand side and the right hand side might be terrible. So the left hand side, they could easily say, on 100 acres they could easily save a couple of tonne, like, and fertilizer's jumping through the roof. It's probably doubling in price, I don't know, and I hear an awful lot of bad about it, but sure, the way it's going, the government are going to cut you probably using fertilizer, or do you know what I mean, as much as you can. So the way it's going, it's all going to be technology, GPS, variable yield mapping. Like, look, they're doing grants there for tillage farmers there for spreaders at the minute, and I'd say it's paying dividends, because sure, farmers just switched on the spread and they went to the field, whereas the GPS ones are shutting them off in sections and at the end and all.
Yeah. And even you see when guys put it in first, they're like, should it not be on by now?
Yeah, and it just shows how much their eye is off, because like most of these big spreaders now, they're nearly in the field 24 or 28 metres before it comes on, because it's able to spread it that far. Like.
Yeah, and it's harder to judge when it's bigger as well.
Oh, well, you can't. You can't judge it. No, technology is...
I suppose the other thing then with Isobus as well, you're saving in that you don't have to get the screens
in it, yeah, and it's all through the one screen, which is...
Yeah, and it stops cluttering the cab and stuff as well. And
exactly, yeah, and you can see your view, and you don't have to have a load of different mountains for different screens. It's all just put through the one screen in the tractor.
Yeah.
So Jack, we're here today, you're harvesting potatoes.
Yeah.
So I suppose the tractor on here is a case Puma 240.
Correct.
And I see you have another case in the fleet here.
We do, we have an Optum, we have a good few cases there at the minute, along with a few John Deere's, Fast Track there, and there's 2 Steyrs there as well, which would be CNH as well, Case New Holland.
Very good.
Lovely tractor and a lovely gearbox transmission. You can't fault them.
You're happy with them, yeah, they're a comfortable tractor.
Comfortable tractor, and now, as you can see behind us there, we're side filling off the new 4-row harvester, the Grimmy Veritron 470.
Very good.
Unbelievable machine now. Has some output out of it, and also it keeps labour down too. You wouldn't have half the lads around and what you would if you had two rows. You also need a windrower there as well.
Yeah.
So as long as it's a big saving in labour.
And with the 470, what sort of output would you get out of it on a day?
It's look, it all depends on conditions. Like, as you can see here now, if you want to pan round to the dust flying off the stalks, it's for October, mid-October, at some conditions.
Yeah.
You'd be hoping to hit near enough 400 tonnes a day. Maybe you'd be pushing 350 to 380. That's in a good day's digging now. Good conditions, good ground, not too far of a draw.
Very good. And you're drawing everything here then into the yard?
Yeah, we've a compound in there in the yard, and we've 2 loaders there unloading and loading the boxes, and John Shelburne, he draws all the potatoes back to the yard via lorries.
Everything is drawn back in a lorry?
Yeah.
Very good. I suppose you'd make more headway now with the
You would.
On the road,
and less muck out on the road too, and less wear and tear, so look, it's a system that works well.
Yeah, very good. I see within the fleet, I suppose, within all the tractors, you have guidance in most tractors.
Yeah, we would. It's just a thing now that you need them just for output and to be as accurate as you can at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's like you're spreading fertiliser, you don't want to be thrown into the hedge, you want to keep all you can.
Yeah. And on your fertiliser spreader, you have section control in that.
Section control, same with the 2 sprayers there. Section control with the 2 sprayers.
And you're happy with that? You see the
Happy
benefits
enough.
of it?
Oh, you would. You'd see the benefits. You see the saving.
Very good.
Especially, so yeah.
So here then we have a GFX 750 and NAV 900 installed in the tractor here. So I suppose you got a bit of time there using it.
We did, absolutely.
How do you find it, or?
Very user friendly now. Lovely touch screen. Very good job. Handy to use. Look at it. It's anyone. They say it's a young man's game now, this GPS and the whole lot, but anyone could get in and get the gist of that joke now.
Very
it's
good.
fairly handy to set up. Once you have your AB line there, you're elected.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you're using it here as side filling.
Using it here now at the minute there, side filling along Kevin.
You can see there. And so I suppose, look, it takes the concentration out of it really.
Oh, it does. Your eyes will be open at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Exactly. I suppose, in general, how's the season going, or how's the harvest going?
Brilliant. You couldn't have asked. All around the board, it's probably one of the best years for farming, via livestock, tillage, etc., etc. It's been a great year, brilliant year.
Exactly.
So it has.
See dust rising in the middle of October.
In the middle of October, and you look over there, there's cars and jeeps in the field.
Yeah.
I've often seen back ends where you wouldn't even think about driving into a field now.
Exactly. No, it makes all the difference. It makes the job that bit easier.
Absolutely.
No, that's great.